Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see about objective poetry. We know very well that poetry is generally classified into subjective poetry and objective poetry. I have already made a video on subjective poetry. Now I am going to talk about objective poetry. Now, objective poetry is impersonal and subjective poetry is personal. Personal means what I am feeling, what I am thinking, how was my experience in a particular event or incident. That is subjective poetry. Objective poetry is impersonal. Impersonal means I did not experience it personally, I did not see it, or I did not undergo any particular event or incident to come and narrate it to it. So here what will happen is, in objective poetry, the focus of attention is something that is outward. My imagination or what I have heard, I would have developed it in my mind. And it must be something which is praiseworthy, which I want to write in my poetry, or it must be some thrilling occurrence. And one thing we have to remember, objective poetry came much more before subjective poetry, because when you see the origin of poetry, we will understand that poetry came out through people who wanted to narrate the experiences, what they saw, and that they wrote it like it was not written language, they told it in oral form in a rhythmic way, so that people who are hearing it can easily get in their mind and also carry it on to the next generation or to the places where they go. So objective poetry was the first form of poetry, and it was very easy, and generally objective poetry will be something close to a narrative form, and even if they see a beautiful sight, they try to come and narrate it to others. And this is what is objective poetry. And objective poetry is not concerned with the poet's own likes and dislikes, and he will treat the subject matter for something as out of his mind. But one main thing in objective poetry is they should know very well about the characters what they are saying, or the incidents what they are narrating, because when they say as an objective poetry, even though it is not their experience, the person who is listening to the poetry must be able to get the feel of it in them. So objective poetry is something of a narration type, what they saw or what they went, and something which inspired them, and it will be a very easy form even to retain in your mind for a long time. And oral literature was mainly based on objective poetry. And objective poetry, since it is not a personal experience, is also called as impersonal poetry. Now, what are the different kinds of objective poetry is, ballad comes under objective poetry, because we know ballad is a story which is told in a song form. Epic, mock epic, idylls and dramatic monologue, all this comes under objective poetry. Now if you see the examples of objective poetry, you will be able to understand more clearly what objective poetry, like Milton's Paradise Lost comes under objective poetry, and Homer's Iliad. All these are books or narration which is not what the poet himself experienced, but what the poet has got an idea where he can tell you and make you feel the real experience. And Hugh's Ballad of Landlord, Alexander Pope's The Rape of the Lock is an excellent example for mock epic in objective poetry, and Robert Browning's My Last Duchess for dramatic monologue. And we know very well Milton's Paradise Lost and Homer's Iliad are epics. This is what I want to tell about objective poetry, and if you have anything more to add on to this, please write it in the comment box so that it will be useful to others. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. Only then you will get the notification of all my videos when I post them. Thank you.